all to Wyatt's Words of Wisdom, the weekly, daily, monthly, whenever I really want to do it, actually, a series where I, Wyatt the Word Weaver, give you all of the best advice from all of the best people. And there's only one best people. Alright, so, you know, I am an ambitious man. I'm a hardcore dude. And so, you know, this is supposed to be a light-hearted, you know, somewhat jovial little bit of an opinion and advice series, but, I mean, you know, sometimes you just gotta go hard. And especially when a commenter on the last video on prom, he asked me a question. He wanted me to go talk about some of the more intricacies of romantic relationships. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about intimate relationships. Yes, that's a euphemism, but, you know, it catches all the most. So our comment today that we're going to be basing this off of, I'm not comes from a man who's, at least seems to be a male, who, Mr. TH3C00L pre-TZ3L. I'm gonna call you Pre-T. Alright, rule number one, Pre-T, get a real name. Okay, this is just ridiculous. Like, you know, this is a social platform, YouTube, you have to be social. Give us something to call you. Otherwise, like, you're not even a person. Like, you're less than human right now. Also, you know, get a profile picture, preferably your face. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but I do it because I'm hardcore. And you want to be hardcore. Because you're not hardcore unless you live hardcore, as is said in School of Rock. Alright, so Mr. Pre-T asks, he says, Mr. Wordweaver, first, just let me say, thank you. That is very sweet, Mr. Wordweaver. You know, respect is great. You know, when you give respect, you're much more often to have respect thrust upon you, which is actually something we'll be talking about later in this video when it comes to relationships. But just keep that in mind. Respect, always a nice place to start. Doesn't hurt, never hurts respect. Can you give me some wisdom on girls, specifically sex? Oh, we just said the naughty word, sex. Oh my God, run, scream, and tear! Like, if she's into freaky stuff that you're not quite sure that you're morally or hygienically okay with, thanks. And then he did like a little lesser than symbol and then a 3 forming a heart. Very, very sweet. Okay, Pre-T. So, yeah, I guess we're talking about, you know, the sex and the intimate times. Now, let's just say right off the bat, this video is not going to really be about, like, the mechanics of sex. There are other places you can go to for that. I'm also not going to encourage you to have sex, as, you know, I don't really have to, considering, like, the entire world is doing that, like, all the time. Now, on the other hand, we're just gonna have a mature and adult-ish, because that's what I refer to myself as, I'm an adult-ish, conversation on the nature of being intimate with another human being. So, what do you do when you are in now when I say an intimate relationship, I mean like she's here, you're there, and things are happening. Now this video also goes for girls too. This is going to be a broad general thing, alright? And I have to say, there are people out there much more, why did I do that? That didn't make any sense. There are people out there who are much more equipped to talk about this than I am. But as I was asked, I will try and answer. I will do my best. And remember, if you have a question you want answered or a topic you want addressed, throw it in the comments section. Alright? Just give me a week for the turnaround. Or probably less. Now, I've been away because of exams. Okay, so, by the way, this is not getting better. We've reached critical mass for this. Oh, gosh. Haircut coming in a week. Anyway. It's when I get out of this place! Intimate relationships. Alright, so, you know, as I said in my last video about prom, relationships are all about communication. So here's what you don't want. You don't want to say, you and your partner are dating. Hopefully, we're just going to assume that. And y'all decide to get intimate. Maybe y'all kissing, y'all making out, some things are getting felt. And then neither of you are really completely clear on what's going to happen. That is something you want to avoid. You want to avoid the two of you having differing opinions or ideas about what is about to happen. Because ideally, that won't happen. Because ideally, you will have discussed what will happen before. Now listen, there's a lot of reasons that we don't discuss what we're going to do when we're being intimate with people, touchy-feely and that. I'm using intimate to cover all that. And the reason that we don't do that is because we're kind of ashamed of it and we don't want to admit that we want to do that. But, that's silly because, if you were really ashamed of it, you wouldn't be doing it in the first place. So honestly, you're not that ashamed of it. So let's just talk about it, okay? Because this feeds into the other really important thing we need to remember. Consent. Consent is a cool thing here on the Word Weaver channel. It's all about consent. Alright, on consent, just let me say, from a purely non-ethical, let's throw out all ethics for a second and say we're just cold, hard sociopaths who are hedonistically in it for ourselves purely. Let me just say, from experience, if she or he is into it, it is way, way, way hotter. So you have massive amount of incentives. It's good for you for them to be into it. Alright, so moving on to a more comfortable subject. Talk, discuss, where are hands going to go? Where are mouths going to go? Have this conversation. Because honestly, people, if you are not ready to have that conversation with your partner, you're probably not in a good place of your relationship where you can handle emotionally doing things to one another. And here's a thing that we don't talk about in relationships in terms of being sexually active or intimate, getting around the bases, is that there is an emotional weight to all of these actions. Because sex and romance are very important. Alright, let's talk about chemistry for a sec. The most important of all things. So I'm sure y'all all know that when you kiss and when you smooch, when you get up in the neck and you start feeling each other up, you feel good. Why do you feel good? That's because those areas are sensitive. And when they get touched, they release chemicals into the brain. Dopamine, which is generally just the feel-good chemical. Endorphins, which are the, get you high, get you moving, excited chemical. And they also release oxytocin. Oxytocin is a bonding chemical. It is there so humans will become stronger, feel more for each other, essentially. It's not love. People are like, love is a chemical reaction. Oxytocin and love, not the same thing, okay? But here's the thing. Whenever you are stimulated like that, okay, if you think that you can casually, be intimate with someone and not have any feelings about it, you are wrong. Because chemically, you don't have a choice. If you do that with someone, your brain will become attached to them. Alright? Whether you want it or not. So these things have consequences. Now, add on to that the massive social implications that our society puts on becoming sexually intimate with one another. Alright? That will create mental pressure, alright? Either positively or negatively. Okay? So, trust me, after you get out of going through some bases, you're going to feel weird. You may not be feel completely good about it. You could feel kind of guilty, you could feel kind of unsure. It's going to, it's not going to be a purely positive experience. It probably will eventually. Now, what will help it make a purely positive experience is if you and your partner are comfortable with one another and you have talked it out before you started. Alright? Communication. Alright? So we're not, flying blind here. Don't fly blind in a relationship. Don't fly blind with your genitalia. That's just a bad idea. Alright, So, now, let's talk about uneven expectations. Alright? When one partner wants one thing and the other partner doesn't. Alright? Now, let's start with the ladies. Girls, you've probably heard this before, or hopefully you've heard this before, but listen. If a guy is with you because of your ability to provide things for him physically, you need to leave that relationship because he does not care about you. He cares about your body. And you are not your body. Alright? No matter what society tells you, you are not your body. Gentlemen, that goes for you too. Alright? Now, listen. You should never let anyone pressure you in to doing anything physically, because you will regret it. Trust me, I've been there. You will regret it. And it's going to haunt you for a long time. Now, listen. We have this idea of sex. Young people have this idea of sex, and sex is a super rare, uber valuable commodity. And that our goal as young people is to seize it whenever you can get your hands on it. As soon as you see the, every day we're walking around looking for possible avenues to get sex. And the second we see a sniff that, maybe this path, maybe we go down this path, I might get some sexy times. We say that's the optimal path to go down. And, obviously, if you turn down sex, then, what are you? You some faker? You're not hardcore. What are you? You some pussy? What? This don't make no sense. Don't feed into the lie. That is a destructive lie, okay? Because sex is the most intimate thing you can do with a person, essentially, all right? And it will have massive ramifications on how you feel about more or less everything. And don't get me wrong. Again, this is not, I don't want this to come off as some abstinence is great thing, okay? Because again, that's not helpful. What I'm saying is, again, sex can be really, really great between people who know what they're doing and have talked it out and have decided to do it beforehand. Alright? But, okay. So say you and your partner are both really into each other, but you're not comfortable telling them that you're not, but you are not comfortable doing what they want you to do. You have to use your words. You have to communicate. Say, listen, can we just wait a little bit? Or how about we do this instead? Or, I'm just not feeling it right now. Please, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm ready for this. And that's all you have to say. That's all you have to do. And if they get mad, now, a little frustration, that may be, just what people do. But if they get mad at you, you need to leave their relationship. Okay? And I know it's frustrating. I know sexually, we all just want to pounce on everyone and just smash them. We all just want to smash all the time. It's in our blood. We're just savage, feral monsters. But the weird thing is that in the moment of being intimate with people, if you are not committed to this person and if your intentions are not fully aligned, there will be cognitive dissonance. AP Psych term. Alright? There will be things messed up, and it will get in the way, and it will not feel good. And the entire time you'll be doing it, there will be this voice in the back of your head saying, this is wrong. And when you get out of there, you might just want to throw up. Okay? Now listen. Again, being sexually intimate with someone is one of the greatest things that will ever happen to you in your entire life. But do it on your terms. Remember, attack on your soil. Alright? Plan, talk, discuss, bark. Don't bark. That's... and come together, and it might just work out. Alright? Also, ask your older siblings, ask your parents. I know more, ask my parents about getting intimate with someone. That's the most biggest. if you're a dude, ask your dad. If you're a girl, ask your mom. Okay, they'll probably be way more useful than you'd think. All right, like, again, read up on this stuff. Don't go in blind. One, okay, know what the physiology is. I hope we've all gotten past that, but just don't porn, not good representation. Just be clear on how things work on a mechanical standpoint, all right? And again, listen, I assure you, if you half-heartedly go into something, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for you, it's going to be bad for them. You're going to be messing around, you're going to be unsure the whole time, they're going to get frustrated, or it's not going to feel that good because you're not really into it. It's all going to get clouded through the fog and the mud, all right? And you need to tell them because it's not going to be good for them either, all right? You're doing your partner a disservice if you do not communicate with them, and you're doing yourself a worse one, all right? So remember, as the Disney movie said, be true to yourself. All right? And be true with the ones you love. And generally, things will work out. Ladies and gentlemen, the majority of the problems that the human race has are caused by people not talking to one another. So talk. Discuss. Be intimate. And remember that sex is only one part of romance. And honestly, it's not even the best one. Alright? Just being actually intimate with someone, emotionally intimate, sharing your feelings, sharing your fears, your hopes, your dreams, that will bond much more than any amount of oxytocin releasing ever will. Alright? Well, I just spent a good 20 minutes out of my depth. So, yeah, I hope that was as good for you as it was for me. As you can see, we're not one to shy away from any topics here on the Wyatt the Word Weaver channel, as we are all weavers, weaving our own stories and our own lives. And, sometimes you weave things that society tells you is not very appropriate to talk about. And in those cases, society is pretty freaking stupid, if I would say. Because when you don't talk about something, you give it power over you. Do not give power. Power must be taken. Power must be earned. Understand me? Alright. So, if you have any other questions you want answered, again, throw them in the comments. Maybe be a little more lighthearted this time. Thanks, Preeti, for asking the question. Brave of you to do so. I'm honestly proud of you, bro. I hope that everything goes out well. Also, you mentioned, hygienically in your comment. I focused more on the morally. Don't have a lot of tips on hygienically. Just, condoms are a thing. Wear them. I assure you, the pull-out method will not work, especially if you've never done it before. So yeah. And honestly, that's not from my experience, that's just from common sense, okay? So yeah. Condoms are ridiculous. They're giving that stuff out like candy. Anyway, yeah. Throw your stuff below. Follow me on Twitter. You can, if you want to get in touch with me on a more personal level, my Gmail is in there for the channel. And yeah, thank y'all for sitting through this rather long video. See y'all in the next one.